y'all, it's time for another Candlelight tale. You have a sip of wine first. Okay, this tale is from West Virginia. I had a lot of family up in West Virginia, and my mother's side of the family. They were all way up in the hills. I'm talking really recessed hills. And I had this one aunt. She was very quirky. She wasn't quite mentally all there. She was a little bit handicapped in the mental department. And she had some odd assortment of children. They were very unusual. We're talking X-Files. You know, quirky hillbilly family, basically. They lived in a trailer in what would be considered like a shantytown area, like a bad part of the mountain. And her husband, my uncle, had been run over by a steamroller, so she was left to raise the children alone. Sometimes we would visit there, and I never felt very comfortable, and I wasn't sure why. I mean, other than they were very quirky, but they were lovable, so I was okay with that. And as a child, you're pretty accepting to anything, so the fact that my much older cousins had my mental capacity was kind of nice, because usually my much older cousins were way ahead of me, so we'd, you know, play, have fun, throw the ball around in the yard and stuff. The area was covered with woods that were very thick. They were like a thicket, and in fact, it ended up being the location I used in my upcoming erotic horror novel, Pagan Bloodlust, because it was just fitting for something to be in those woods. And there's a reason why I thought there was something in those woods. We would be playing in the yard, or maybe I might be back there picking things from the garden for her. And I would just get this sense of somebody walking through the woods, very heavy footfalls. Sounded like a person, but much heavier than a person. So I assumed, okay, it must be a big buck or a deer or something. There was a lot of deer around there. I'd leave them corn cobs sometimes. One time I was out there, and the mountain was starting to get foggy, and when it got foggy, it would get foggy real quick, so you needed to get inside, or you might not find your way home. So I was getting ready to put everything into my basket, get it back to the trailer, and I looked up, and through the woods I saw something white moving between the trees. It was bright and tall, and its footfalls were very heavy. It almost felt like it shook the ground. I heard a couple of branches break, and I just got, all the hairs on my body stood up, and I knew something was wrong, very, very wrong. So I rushed toward the trailer. I got inside, and you know, I gave my aunt all of the stuff I had picked from the garden, and I kept peeking out the window, but the fog had rolled in and I couldn't see the woods anymore, so I just sort of let that go. Well, the next summer I went back there, and I thought, oh, I remember, there was something I saw last summer. So now that I remembered that I had seen something, I started kind of staring at the woods all the time, and I would listen, and sometimes I would hear what sounded like hoots and hollers from down low in one of the ravines, and then I would hear what sounded like branches breaking, and then some kind of grunting and breathing, and I just had this intense feeling of being watched. Every hair on my body stood on end. I just knew somebody was watching me. So I would rush back into the trailer. Well, one day I was in there in the trailer with my aunt, and it was just the two of us. Everybody else was gone, and she was putting together a plate of food, and I thought, well, we just ate. Why are you putting together a plate of food? And she proceeded to open the back door and climb down the stairs and walk across the lawn toward the woods. And there was a tree stump there, a giant tree stump. They had like cut down some big, big tree. And she set the plate on it. And I looked at it, and I looked at her, and I said, are we having a picnic? Because we just ate. And she said, no, this is for the white bear man. And I just looked at her, and I went, the white bear man? What are you talking about? And she said, he looks like a bear, but he walks like a man. And she regularly left him meals out there on that tree stump near the woods. And I kind of doubted it, and I came back the next day to visit again. The plate was sitting there by the woods, and it was completely empty. And there was a flower sitting on the plate, and I thought, wow, whatever this white bear man is, he's pretty cool. I mean, he's a gift. So I didn't think about it much until I got into Sasquatch research and started to learn that there were people that reported a white bear type creature in West Virginia and in this particular region. So she really knew there was somebody in those woods.